and welcome back to my art vlog. If you missed my previous art video, you can go back and watch it here. And if you're new to my channel, you can go back and watch my intro video here to see what I'm all about. Or you can just continue watching this one. This is another one I did a while ago, back in August, September of last year. It's actually the last pastel piece I finished. I did start a couple of others, but they weren't going so well, so they've been cast aside for now. I took a few attempts to start this one, not really sure of the colouring and patterns I wanted for the surface, but I got there eventually and could get on with drawing the main subject of this drawing. A species of cetacean smaller and more endangered than any other, and that can only be found in the upper Gulf of California, a place that's teeming with marine life, and which Jacques Cousteau called the aquarium of the world. I'm talking, of course, about the vaquita porpoise. Not to be confused with dolphins, porpoises, though similar, are actually a separate family to their dolphin cousins. The differences are slight, but they are there. They are shorter and have a more robust body than dolphins, like a pronounced rostrum, the beak-looking thing, have a more triangular dorsal fin compared to the dolphin's more curved fin, and have flattened off teeth, rather than the pointy ends that dolphins have. The vaquita, whose name means little cow in Spanish, are pretty shy and elusive. They spend very little time at the surface, coming up just long enough to breathe without ever making a splash. So if you happen to spot one of them, consider yourself very lucky. They only occupy a really small range, smaller than the range of any other cetacean, and live in waters that are within 25 kilometers of the shore, are pretty murky, and no deeper than 30 meters. They're not the most social of cetaceans. Usually they're found in pairs, but they can also be found alone, or at most in groups of up to 7. They were only identified back in 1958, and because they're so hard to find and actively avoid engine noise, research on them has been made difficult, so there's very little known about them. Unfortunately, most of the information you'll find about the vaquita relates to how under threat they are. People have actually often considered them to be a myth because of just how elusive they are. Whether you spot one or not, they are there, at least for now. Unfortunately, their numbers have been rapidly declining, having dropped by over 90% since their first population estimate in 1997, when they were believed to be around 600 vaquita. Vaquita have been listed as critically endangered since 1996, and they're now considered to be the most endangered marine mammal in the world. They are frighteningly close to extinction, with less than 10 predicted to still remain. The reason for this? Gill nets. Gill net fishing in the area, which has been illegal since 2015, has been reducing their numbers since the turn of the century. They've been used to catch shrimp that has been exported to California, and to catch these guys, the also critically endangered totoaba fish, whose swim bladders are prized in China for their supposed medicinal properties. As such, they're worth a great deal of money on the black market, or even than cocaine. It's fishing for the totoaba, which has been illegal since the mid-2000s, that has really accelerated the decline of the vaquita. Despite fishing for totoaba and the use of gill nets being illegal, because of the large amounts of money that can be made through selling the totoaba's swim bladder and the lack of alternate incomes given to the fishermen in the area, this damaging fishing has continued. The continued fishing of a critically endangered species is sad enough in itself, but what makes it worse is that in addition to catching the totoaba, these nets are also capturing other marine life, including the vaquita. Bycatch is a common occurrence in both legal and illegal fishing around the world, but now a species is about to become extinct because of it. Of course, there have been people working to try and save them, like Sea Shepherd, for example, who have been working hard in collaboration with the Mexican government since 2015 to not only help patrol the waters, but also to pull nets out from the water and free entangled marine life. Unfortunately though, protection was not put in place soon enough, and the social ramifications of the gill net ban on the people in the upper Gulf, where 90% of the economy comes from fishing and almost entirely using gill nets, have not been sufficiently tackled. As David Bader said, if you look around the room in your conservation program and don't see a social scientist, then your conservation plan is not complete. Species can be brought back from the brink of extinction. Just look at the blue whales, or sea otters, or the West Indian manatee, or northern elephant seals, just to name a few. It's just really hard to do. What we need to be doing is acting much sooner to save species. It's much easier to prevent them from getting to the brink in the first place. It's in the power of our governments to be aptly putting laws and protections in place, and then monitoring and upholding the laws, as well as tackling the social issues that might cause people to break said protective laws. And it's in the power of us to not only be putting pressure on governments and advocating for increased protection of species and habitats, but also, and perhaps more importantly, to be careful of what we consume, to make sure that we're choosing products and foods that aren't creating a demand for species to begin with, and to be choosing to live in more sustainable ways with a lesser carbon footprint. Extinction may be a natural occurrence, but human behaviours like poaching, animal agriculture, fishing, habitat destruction and climate change are causing it to happen at 1,000 times the normal speed. There are nearly 400 marine species that are listed as endangered on the Red List of Endangered Species, and over 270 marine species that are listed as critically endangered. It is in our hands to save them from vanishing forever. The vaquita may be on the brink of extinction, and there are many that don't believe that they can be saved. But as Stephen Hawking said, while there is life, there is hope. And the hope for the vaquita is that because they can calve every year and have a naturally low genetic diversity, which means they can repopulate with low numbers, if these nets can be kept out of the water and away from the vaquita, then the vaquita might just be able to repopulate and be brought back from the brink of extinction. There are so many beautiful and incredible species that we get to share this planet with, and I think it's extremely sad and tragic that we're losing them just because we can't seem to amend the ways that we live alongside them. There are so many simple things that we could be doing differently to lessen our impacts, and to not only prevent species from becoming extinct, but help them to bounce back to the numbers that they should be. I think the greatest and most important thing that we can learn from nature right now is how to live in harmony and coexist alongside others that we share this planet with. We may live in a more advanced society than our ancestors did, with greater technologies and more opportunities than they ever knew, but we've lost something crucial along the way: our connection and ability to collectively coexist peacefully with nature. It's still there within us. We just need for more governments and more people to reawaken and to work harder towards living in such harmonious ways all around the world. Not just for the sake of nature, but ultimately for our own sakes too. I donated this piece to Sea Shepherd to sell at a silent auction they did last year, but I do have other work up for sale on my Art Pal page, which you can check out in the link that I'll put in the description. You can also check out more of my art through my website. If you liked this video and would like to see more videos about the ocean or my art, support me in my passion and help me to hopefully inspire more people to like and care for our oceans, then clicking away would apparently be really helpful with that. So yeah, click the buttons. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!